Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to my Instagram live broadcast. My name is John Wray, and I'm the head of school of Mulgrave School, the International School of Vancouver. First things first, I hope that you are all well and both thriving and surviving in this pandemic time. I've had a wonderful week, and if you remember this time last week, I was talking about the upcoming convocation for our grade 12 students. And I have to say that although we were worried about convocation and the restrictions we had to operate within, convocation turned out to be a wonderful event. Every family came through our doors on Friday and went through a series of different stations in the school, culminating in the final award of the graduation diploma. And I was awarding the diplomas all day. I had a wonderful time. It was a little bit exhausting, as you can imagine, but to see the look of pride on so many parents and families' faces as their sons and daughters collected their graduation diploma was wonderful. So it was, I think, a really successful day, and we've had great feedback about it. The feedback's been so good, actually, that we may think we might just change the model a little bit in the light of what we've done this year for future years. The whole day, by the way, ended with a wonderful drive-by parade by our grads and their families in their cars. Some open top, many hanging out of the skylight in the car. But it was wonderful. A lot of noise. I'm so pleased we don't have any near neighbours. Everybody was sounding their horns. But it was a wonderful way to finish the day. So thank you to everybody who was involved in the organisation of that event. And of course, most importantly, very best wishes to our grads as they have now finished school and they're now looking forward to the next stage in their lives. The first few days of this week have been exciting too, and it relates to my first question today, which is how is the gradual reentry going? So just a bit of context, you'll remember that the government has instructed all schools to move to stage 3 on the 1st of June, which was on Monday. And so from Monday, we have had 4 of our junior school early years grades back in school, and then on a day-by-day basis, our middle school and our senior school grades. So on Monday, we had grade 5, 3, 1, PK4 coming to school. They were here on Monday and Tuesday. And then today we have grade 4, grade 2, kindergarten, PK3, but in addition we have grade 9 and grade 10. And I can tell you it's absolutely wonderful to have young people back in the school. There's an energy and a vibrancy about having this building full of young people that is actually hard to explain. They've been learning in their classes, in their grade groups. They've been having some fun along the way too, which is important. Part of getting back together, of course, is not only coming back into school to learn face-to-face, but also to reconnect with each other, to reconnect with their teachers, and to reconnect with this community. So everything is going well. I have to say we needed to give no instructions whatsoever to any of our students about physical distancing. It's like they've been drilled endlessly at home about that. So thank you to all those parents who've briefed their children, told their children what's going to be expected, because it hasn't been an issue. Everywhere I look, the children are physically distanced, walking apart, sometimes in lines at their own behest, actually, in the younger grades. The hand washing is going on. Our cleaners are cleaning everything down. We've employed 3 daytime cleaners to keep everything clean during the day, in addition to our deep clean team at night. So everything is going really well. We have about 50% of every grade coming into school, which is very manageable from our point of view. And it does provide us with some capacity for others to come back if some stage they wish. Although, as last week, I do ask that if you decide to send your children back to school, to please give us a week's notice so that if we have to alter group sizes in any way, we can do so. So that's been the highlight of my week. As you can imagine, my mind is also turning to planning for the fall as well. And I have to say this is one of the most challenging things I've ever been faced with. We are getting such mixed messages from the government. And again, I don't blame them for that. It's a moving scene. But certainly we've had some ministers and deputy ministers talking about everything will be back to normal in the fall. Last night, just as I was getting my head around that announcement during the day yesterday, last night the Education Minister announced that absolutely we won't be back to normal in the fall, and all kind of blended learning is likely until we get a vaccine. So who knows where we'll be. I guess the good sign is that in BC things seem to be getting less and less infectious. The rate of infection is very low and seems to be coming down even further, so that's really good news. And I guess if we keep it like that, then the opportunity for schools to open at least somewhere near normality in the fall will be there. And that's how we're planning. Scenario planning has taken on a new meaning at Mulgrave. We have so many different scenarios going round and so many complex plans you can't imagine. So that was the first question today. The second question today is an important one, and it's kind of a bit off my normal tack here, but it's a question I didn't want to avoid, and it came in from a grade 8 student who asked me, how is the school responding to what is happening in the USA? And of course, this has been, front and center for us for about a week now, and certainly the last few days. The tragic death of Floyd George and all the unrest that has happened as a result. That's something that our students of many ages are seeing and aware of. And of course, they have many questions about that situation. So how is Mulgrave reacting? Well, I think the first thing to say, and this is partly personal and only partly personal because we haven't had a chance to really fully discuss this at school level, is that this is an incredibly troubling situation at many different levels. And clearly the situation in the US is based on quite significant and historical levels of racial discrimination and prejudice. And that situation alone, which has been going on for many years, hasn't got hugely better, is obviously very troubling in itself. But it's also troubling, I guess, because although at many levels we feel that Canada is a wonderfully multicultural, harmonious community, culture, society, we do know that to some extent that's superficial. And in previous Instagram Live broadcasts, I have talked about the incidents of racism, particularly against our Asian community, that have come up in relation to COVID. So we do know that the harmony, if you like, the inclusion, if you like, is superficial in Canada, I think. And that we do, from time to time, have issues around discrimination and prejudice coming up, and we've seen some of those, even in the last week. So it's an important issue in the US, but it's also an important issue for Canada. And of course, we mustn't forget, as a society, that we have our own issues, and historically have had our own issues around prejudice and discrimination against our Indigenous peoples as well. So it's an important issue. It's a live issue. I think it's particularly relevant for Mulgrave too because of our school values. And our school values, they're not anywhere near different from the values that many people hold dear. And the key values for us are around inclusion. They're around respect, so inclusion of all peoples, of whatever background and culture. Respect for all peoples are really part of our DNA here at Mulgrave, and it's something that we reinforce a lot with our students about how they should uphold those values and have utter respect for everybody, whatever their background. So it is very unsettling because it not only reminds us of the issues that we face in Canada, but also it reminds us that in some senses what's happening in the US is a violation of the values we hold dear at Mulgrave. So how are we responding? Like everybody, we've kind of superficially given our response on social media, but really the question that everybody is asking is what is the long-term response here? What is going to happen as a result of these tragic incidents that are occurring? And I think we're in a unique position, of course, as a school community, as an education community. We're in a unique position to ensure that our young people at Mulgrave grow up with the right values, grow up with the deep sense of culture and history that's so important to understand some of the feelings and behaviours that are going on in the US. We will be talking a little bit about this in Connections tomorrow, but also we will be providing resources for parents and for students through Connections, in which, for those of you who are parents who are listening, you can talk to your children about this situation in a helpful way. So that's our response. I know that some of our teachers already in the upper school have been discussing this with the students as the students have raised these issues, and so that process has already started. But just rest assured from our point of view, this is a learning opportunity for us, and it's an opportunity for us to not only talk about some of the important values in life, globally, nationally, across North America, but also in our own school. So that's how we're dealing with it. And again, at a personal level, in my book, the more we can help our young people to grow up with the concepts of society being just, harmonious, equitable, inclusive, is really very important. So look, there's a few thoughts. This is obviously a very deep topic, and we could have conversations for many hours, but I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention through this Instagram live broadcast, and I'm sure we'll have more opportunity to talk those things through at some point. So have a great day. Thank you so much for joining me again today. See you next week. Bye-bye.